So my question for you is, I want to start with what just I read this morning in Globes about the agricultural reforms. Based on what I'm reading, and I keep in mind I'm reading in English, right? It seems like a very positive development because it seems like what they managed to do, the Israeli farmers didn't want the. I'll give you a little background. For those that don't, Israel has very, very, very strong protectionism when it comes to their agriculture. They're reading, they're worried about food security when the anti-Semites of the world will unite against Israel, which I think many people across the spectrum see that as potential sometime in the future. However, though, in my opinion, I think a lot of our supplies that we get, like fertilizer to feed our cattle and all that, has to be imported anyway. But what we are seeing is that the farmers have been very much having they want to protect their class, just like the taxis everywhere in the world. We were against Uber, very similar thing. But what I've read was that they came to an agreement with the farmers that we're going to allow imports, we're going to lower tariffs, and you're going to have competition. But we're going to remove unnecessary expenses on labor, including I believe Israelis have to pay like if you bring labor from abroad on a visa to do work, you have to pay for like their pension as if they're an Israeli, and all of these expenses that are worked in. And a lot of these have been rolled back to let Israeli produce be more competitive at home and hopefully more competitive abroad. Do you think there's a positive development here? What do you think about the new law?
The new law is 100% a positive development. It replaces to some extent limitations on imports by direct subsidy or direct payment from the state to the farmers, to the agriculture industry. What I would say it's just a first step, and it's extremely complicated. It's not clear if anything actually is going to happen because you actually need to open the market for imports, and then the state pays very large sums directly to the farmers, and it's not exactly clear when and how it's going to be done. I don't want to be too skeptical because it is a good first step, but it's only one step. It's kind of small, and I don't think it's really going to solve the problem. Look, in theory, if the state pays the farmers enough money directly, then all of the benefits to the overall population that comes from lower food prices is going to be destroyed by simply having to collect more taxes to pay the direct subsidies to the farmers. So this is probably a little bit an extreme example, but what I'm saying that it's not clear how much imports are going to be permissible because of this new law, and it's not clear how much money is going to be paid directly to the farmers. The way I would do it, probably, I mean, and look, in theory, the best solution is to open the market completely to all type of imports, cancel or abolish all of the limitations, and pay nothing to the farmers. Because the farmers don't deserve more protection than any other sector in Israel. Up until 22, 25 years ago, we had limitations on imports of clothing, on textile, right? Shirts, jeans, shoes, and which is why prices of clothing in Israel was very high and the quality was very low. And then almost overnight, all of the limitations were abolished. Prices dropped like a stone. The level of clothing in Israel, or apparel in Israel now is as high as it is, anywhere else in the world because everything is imported. The industry completely was destroyed because Israel doesn't have any comparative advantage in making apparel, and everyone is just better off. There was a very short-lived spike in unemployment in some places where you had big centers of the textile industry, and that unemployment basically disappeared after less than 1 year. And overall, it was a great step for the overall economy or overall state of Israel. And I think this is exactly what we're supposed to do now with the farmers or with the agriculture industry, which is completely abolish all limitations, all central planning, all interventions, which is, by the way, not only in fruits and vegetables, also the dairy product market and eggs and poultry and meat. Everything is being centrally planned by the state. And all of that should be abolished. But again, going back to the question, yeah, it's a good first positive step.